21 Bridges was directed by Brian Kirk and it stars Chadwick Boseman, Sienna Miller and J.K. Simmons. 21 Bridges tells the story of Andre Davis, a New York City Police Department detective, brilliantly played by Chadwick Boseman, who is on the trail of 2 cop killers who are responsible for murdering 8 of his colleagues. To prevent the killers from escaping, he orchestrates an audacious plan to shut down all 21 bridges, hence the title, in New York City to prevent the killers from escaping. 21 Bridges is a very satisfying and entertaining thriller. And it was brilliantly directed. And it makes a very, very strong debut from Brian Kirk. And this is his first foray into directing a film feature. Prior to that, Brian Kirk was well known as directing television episodes. He directed such shows as Dexter. He directed such shows as Boardwalk Empire, Luther, Game of Thrones. So the transition from going from directing a TV show to a film is quite a difficult one. But he handled the transition very well. Just in the same vein as J.J. Abrams did when he directed episodes of Lost, and then he directed his first feature, Mission Impossible 3, and then went on to do such films as Star Trek. 21 Bridges was produced by Chadwick Boseman and was also given the unique selling point of being produced by the Russo brothers, who were coming off an all-time high from directing Endgame. So if you go into this film expecting the same type of grandiose, extravagant filming that they did with Avengers, you'll be in for a disappointment. This is a well-shot, well-paced, and brilliantly acted film. And at 1 hour and 30 minutes, this film doesn't overstay its welcome. 21 Bridges does have a lot of good things going for it. From the opening sequence, when we see our hero Andre witnessing his father's funeral as a boy, to when we see him being interviewed by Internal Affairs, it grips you from the get-go. There are some well choreographed and well orchestrated action sequences in this film, including the robbery between the killers and the cops. The way that is shot, it is in the same vein as the iconic shootout in Heat, brilliantly directed by Michael Mann. And that shows you the type of legacy and the benchmark that it set for future films in terms of shootouts. There are some very well orchestrated action sequences in this film, some chase sequences. And what I like about this film is that the action sequences are well placed in this film. They are put in at the right moment. It is not an action sequence for an action sequence sake. They are not putting it in to cover up a weak plot in the film. This film is a race against time thriller because one of the arcs of the storyline is if our heroes do not find these killers within a certain period of time, then this case will be transferred over to the FBI. And to basically keep the audience informed about where they are with the case, we are given a countdown timer that is shown at different segments of the film, which I really, really liked. Also, this film is beautifully shot. This film is shot in New York City, and New York is a character within itself. So just to capture certain iconic scenes from the film, in terms of certain, like the Manhattan Bridge, in terms of Brooklyn, the Bronx, New Jersey, it just all makes some brilliant filmmaking, and it captures the spirit of New York brilliantly. Also, the acting. There are some very, very good performances in this film. I can't think of a weak link within this film. Chadwick Boseman gave a commanding performance as Andre Davis. And even though we know him as T'Challa from Black Panther, he has worked on other films before, and here he showcases his ability as a leading man. If you close your eyes at certain segments of the film and you hear him talk, you think it was Denzel. And that just goes to show you the impact that he has had on everybody. But Chadwick Boseman gave a fine commanding performance and has shown himself to be a very capable leading man. Sienna Miller made a really good addition to the film as his partner. Her role was basically to give him all the drug intel that she could find in terms of, okay, where these guys would go if they were to escape. And I thought that she made a really, really good partner to Chadwick Boseman's character. And J.K. Simmons, legendary actor, venerated across theatre and film, easily one of the most reliable character actors ever, is in this film. And as always, he gives a very, very strong performance as one of the police officers who wants Chadwick Boseman to find these killers before he does. And the rest of the supporting cast in this film are great. Keith David, as always, reliable and gives a strong commanding performance. There were no weak links in this film. There's a sub-story within 21 Bridges involving police corruption within the New York Police Department. And it adds even more intensity to the storyline and more in paranoia for our characters in terms of who can they trust, who they can't, who is really the good guy and who is really the bad guy. And the film does delve into a film that I've seen before, and I did get a sense of deja vu. And the film is Assault on Precinct 13, where you're dealing with corrupt cops. And unfortunately for that, the film does become a bit predictable. There is one particular scene within 21 Bridges, and I won't spoil it for you, where a character within the film does something, and from a mile away you can see what their intention was, what their involvement is, and also those suspicions are confirmed within the final act of the film. But with all that being said, the good outweighs the bad. And 21 Bridges could have been your standard cliche cop thriller, but thanks to some great direction, great acting, really, really good chase sequences and some action sequences, and some intense filming, it sets itself apart. And I left the cinema feeling satisfied and entertained and thought, you know what, job well done. So I will give this film a very, very strong 7 out of 10. So, there we have my review. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video. Keep on liking the videos and subscribing because there will be more content coming in the near future. Leave your comment with what is your favourite cop thriller. And I shall see you on the next film review. Take care, guys.